I went to the cinema last night, actually. I went to Picture House Central, me and my friend, and we went to go see Warfare. The new Alex Garland co-directed it with a guy called Mendoza, who was a war veteran in Afghanistan and Iraq. And this film is based on his accounts and his platoon's accounts of what happened this one night where they were besieged by rebel insurgents. Yeah, really, really good film. I knew it was going to be good when I saw the trailer, and it is exactly what it says. It's this very, almost like a beautifully shot documentary, and we are just like over the shoulder of these a crew of soldiers, and we see them go on this one mission. There is no story at all, and it's not a classic film. We don't get character arcs.
It's not a classic war movie. It's more of like a moment in time.
Exactly. And sometimes I think that potentially works to the film's detriment, but this film is more of an experience than a movie, if you get me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a big cast. I see Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn.
The cast is fantastic. Yeah, Will Poulter is sort of the leader of the group. And so, yeah, just to give a sort of basic plot premise, the opening of the film is amazing as well. And I knew I was going to love it from the first 5 minutes, because we have all the soldiers, all our main characters, they're back at their base. And it opens on, I don't know whether you remember this music video, but Eric Prydz, Cool on Me.
It rings a bell. Describe it to me.
It's very like, how The Substance is that like hot girls in the gym class like doing aerobics sort of thing.
I remember that, yes.
It's that that tune.
Oh yeah, sure.
And it was like very big in the early 2000s, so it like immediately puts you, oh yeah, we're back in 2002. Call on Me by Eric Prydz music video. Everyone was obsessed with it. Iraq war was going on. It really sets the tone of like authenticity, and that's probably the biggest thing about this film. It all feels so real, and like when sometimes you have a film being made by a filmmaker, and you can just tell they have no experience with the subject matter they're talking about, or this is something that's very alien to them. Like when you get like an old man trying to write like Gen Z dialogue, and it feels so inauthentic. Like this is the complete opposite. Like this just feels super real. And it's a nice bit of introductory to all the soldiers, and we get a good camaraderie between them in this beginning. They head into Iraq, I believe it is, and they take over this house because it's got a big second story, and they take it over as a purely surveillance base of operations. And unfortunately, there's a family that lives there who just has to kind of accept this situation. And the soldiers go in, knock the door down, and they set up base inside of this old house. And they're monitoring this building that has a lot of kind of military-aged men coming in and out of it all day.
Okay.
It's, so we get this build-up of tension, and we're literally just with these soldiers, and they're reporting back everything they're seeing around them to their air support. And then it grows, the tension starts building as more of these men across the streets keep converging on their position, and then they lose air support, and we realize, oh, we have a few trucks of soldiers converging on your position, and starts ramping up, and then before you know it, a grenade is dropped through the window. The sound design in this film is insane. I don't know whether you watched did you watch Civil War?
Yes, I mean, I love Alex Garland, so I'm definitely gonna check this out. But I don't think it's available where I am right now. But yeah, I think the sound design. I was gonna say the sound design of Civil War was also amazing, and most of his movies I think have really good sound. So I'm imagining a very immersive experience of just warfare.
Yeah, I should have looked it up, but I'm sure the same sound designer worked on Civil War and on this, because I have never heard more realistic gunfire in a film than in Civil War and this. Like the muzzle flashes, like the dropping of the shells on the ground. It's honestly, yeah, it's the most realistic like gunfire close quarters battles I've ever seen in a film.
Interesting.
And I found Civil War to be quite disappointing as a story, but I thought all the spectacle moments, like the close quarters combat we see, was all really fantastically done. And so I knew this film was going to be, this is going to be the best bits of Civil War and used appropriately in this story of warfare. And it's one of those films where once one bad thing happens, it is literally full on from there till the end, and it is just constant
Non-stop.
things. Yeah, and things keep going wrong. One of our characters is slightly injured, and so they kind of have to get him out of this situation. And they do this thing which I've never heard of, and it's so cool. It's because they're in such close quarters combat, and they're the jets they have as air support. They can't assist, they can't bomb anybody around them because there's too many civilians and they're too close to where the soldiers are. So they do a thing called a show of force, which is when, and I assume this is a real thing that happened.
Probably.
And the jet flies so low over the street that it creates like a sonic boom and like almost concusses people. And and they get this to happen like 2 or 3 times, and it's the sound of it is absolutely mental. And you see this jet bomb down this tiny street, and just dust flying everywhere, sends like a shockwave through all the buildings. Just like all these little details like that, which is just like, this is clearly somebody who knows what they're talking about and is telling a story of what happened. And there is a sequence in it with an IED that like you have, and there's no score.
Really?
It is all none at all. It is all just talking, the sound of radios and the sound of gunfire and etc. What's happening in the scene. And there's like a moment where it's just pure silence for so long, and then this fucking IED goes off, and there was only like 6 or 7 of us in the cinema, but all of us almost jumped out of our seats. We're like,
Amazing.
It was so good. And it ends very abruptly, as you'd probably expect, because it's this isn't a formulaic story. We're not trying to get from A to B here. This is just something that happened. It ends really abruptly, and I was slightly like disappointed. And then it has this little extra ending, kind of a bit like a Band of Brothers type situation, where we get, these are all the real guys who are played by the characters. And it was really beautifully done. And it shows a little bit behind the scenes of how Ray Mendoza was directing it and stuff. And it just drove the point of the film home right at the end. And just like, I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Nice. So you said that from a narrative perspective, it's fairly bare bones, but it's like superbly filmed and produced.
From a narrative perspective, there is no story at all.
So my question to you is, because I really love Alex Garland, and I think his movies, even the not so great ones, always have something interesting to say. I am always wary of war movies, especially when they involve like veterans, because I don't know, like I think of something like American Sniper is a movie that everyone was really
American Sniper is pure propaganda.
Yeah, it's very propagandistic in its and I feel like many war movies fall into this, because of course that you're gonna have to use real real army equipment. So I guess even the Transformers movies have very propagandistic tone for the military, and the military was always shown to be cool and efficient and amazing, because they want people to go and become soldiers, I guess. So I'm always curious to know, and I'm asking you this because I haven't seen the movie yet. Does the movie feel like it leans one way or another, or is just kind of like showing you a situation and the brutality of it, and kind of like putting you in the shoes of these soldiers?
It portrays the kind of message perfectly. I'd say it really rides that line, because I'm the same as you. Like, especially when I'm watching war movies, I'm very like attuned to like, oh, is this, are you trying to rewrite history in a way and make it seem like one side's good and one side's bad? And loads of war films do that. But this is not that at all. It has a general underlying tone of, war is futile and war is bad. But it doesn't shit on what these men did. It's not like, oh, the Americans were there and this is purely evil and they were bad. It gives a tribute to the soldiers who specifically a job is to go in and help Navy SEALs when they're in times of need. And it gives a tribute to those men, which I think is fair because, they're just out there doing a job to try and protect people. And so I thought the tribute was nice and it didn't come across as, woo, go America, and everything we did over in the Middle East was right, because it certainly wasn't. So nice. I think it rode that line perfectly in what it was trying to say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, and a great performance, because obviously we've got Joe Quinn, who's coming up in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And he's in a lot of stuff at the moment, and he has quite a hard character to sort of play in this. And same with Will Poulter. It's like these guys, and it's kind of has a bit of a Jarhead feel to it, where
I love Jarhead.
Yeah, where like Modern Warfare is not like how it used to be. Modern Warfare is sitting around 80%, 90% of the time doing absolutely nothing until something really bad happens. And it gets that really well because, these guys are obviously really good at what they do, but they haven't ever encountered a situation like this. And we see them break. It breaks a lot of them. And Will Poulter's performance is really good. And Joseph Quinn like gives a real great performance in this, and I'll tell you what, it is harrowing as well. It is very intense and it's harrowing, and it's one of those films you come out of it afterwards and you're like, oh god, like, did I enjoy that ride? I don't know, but it will sit with me for a while. Yeah, very intense. It didn't get a wide release over here either, to be honest, and it's a bit of a shame because this is a film which definitely benefits from being seen at the cinema. Like the Dolby Atmos sound in my screening was I think is kind of essential with this film. It is part of the experience of having that, and I don't think it would have the same impact if you watched it at home.
Yeah, it's definitely a cinema experience for sure. So watch it on the biggest screen possible with a nice surround system and just get lost in this.
Yeah, I highly recommend. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Wow, an 8 out of 10 from Tyler is very generous, guys. It's probably a 10 from me, like, based on our recent gradings. So,
like I said, it's one of those kind of things that will probably sit with me for a while, and I would definitely like to rewatch it later down the line. It's all the best traits of what Alex Garland can do as a director, and as you said, I really like his work too. Even the so-called bad ones have great sequences in it, and he's a super talented director. And obviously, a lot of credit should go to Ray Mendoza, who's depicted as one of the main characters in the story and is the writer and director behind it. And
he co-directs with Garland, right? He co-directs with Garland.
He co-directs it, and in the end of the film, you see him like blocking some of the shots out at this location, and it's really cool. And as a debut director, this guy an incredible job, and hopefully he gets more opportunities to do similar films like this because it was fantastic. It's probably one of the best modern war films I've seen. It is that good.
It would be interesting to see, how different the reception to it is when it's not on the big screen, because I feel like some movies, I mean, right now we have an issue with companies just shitting their pants when their movies do not perform that well in the first weekend, so they just release it on streaming. But there are movies that just need that cinematic window to really work, I guess.
Yeah, and Warfare is a perfect example of that because it's getting great critical reception, it's getting great audience reception. I think if you're on Rotten Tomatoes, it's both scores are over 90% or whatever. Not that Rotten Tomatoes is a great gauge of anything, but like this is something that if it did have a bit of a wider cinema release, I think word of mouth would have pushed this into becoming successful in its cinema run.
Yeah, hopefully it remains in cinemas for a while. It has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes out of 184 reviews from critics, so it's really, really being really well received. So it would be a shame to just drop it on Prime and people are just gonna be like, oh, yeah, it's a war movie, it's fine. It doesn't have the same impact when you watch it on your couch with a shitty TV and a shitty surround system. So yeah, definitely check it out at the cinema if you can.